Hey there, welcome back to Grow with Vibrant Rainbow Gardens podcast, a show where we dig into real Gulf Coast gardening so you can actually grow what you plant. I'm so glad you're here today because this one is for anyone who's ever said out loud or even just thought to themselves, I really want to start a garden, but I have absolutely no idea where to begin. Can I get a show of hands? Okay, I know, I can't see you. But I'm guessing a lot of you just mentally raised yours. Because here's the thing, the internet has made this worse, not better. You Google how to start a vegetable garden, and suddenly you're drowning in articles, YouTube rabbit holes, Pinterest posts that look like they belong on a magazine cover, and about 50 opinions that all contradict each other. The really frustrating part, almost none of it was written for us, for Houston or Texas gardeners, or Gulf Coast gardeners, or people gardening in Zone 9, where the heat hits hard, the timeline is backwards from everyone else, and what works in Michigan and Oregon has absolutely zero business being recommended to us. Most people don't fail at gardening, they just never start because it feels overwhelming. That's the truth I want you to hear today. It's not about ability, it's not about having a green thumb or not having one. It's about getting so much confusing, mismatched information that your brain goes down into shutdown mode. You just don't start. Okay, today we're fixing that. We're going to talk about why overwhelm happens, what actually works for Houston beginners, and exactly how to set yourself up for a first garden that gives you real wins, not just good intentions. Let's get into it. Before I give you the plan, I want to share something personal because I think it'll help you feel less alone. When I first started gardening here in Houston, and yes, I'm talking about myself here, I did what every new gardener does. I went to the nursery, I looked at these beautiful, healthy, gorgeous plants, and I just started grabbing things. Tomatoes, obviously. Because every garden needs a tomato, right? That's what everyone says. I also grabbed a few other things that looked good. I brought them home, planted them with genuine excitement and the best of intentions. And then I waited. And things died. I was so confused and so frustrated and honestly a little embarrassed. Like, what am I doing wrong? I followed the instructions with heck. I watered, I tried. But here's what I realized it wasn't a lack of effort, it wasn't bad luck, it wasn't black thumb. It came down to three things. I had no plan what I was buying. I was buying before I was deciding, and my timing was completely off for Houston. The advice I was following was not built for a climate. I was doing the wrong things, either too much at once or not enough to give me a safety net. It was not me, it was just my approach. That shift in thinking changed everything for me. And I wanted to change things for you too. Because the approach matters so much more than the effort. You can work hard in the wrong direction and get nowhere. But when you work smart with the right plan, the right timing, the right setup for Houston specifically, things start growing. And I mean that literally and figuratively. So, let's talk about why overwhelm happens in the first place. Because I don't think it's random. I don't think it's your fault. There are three core reasons I see over and over again. Reason number one, too much information and almost none of it is for us. Instagram gardens and Pinterest posts are so beautiful, but they're not Houston gardening. What grows in the Pacific Northwest in spring is not what we are planting here in spring. Period. When you're new, you don't always know which advice applies to you and which does not. So you try to absorb it all and it just becomes nice. Reason number two, there's no clear plan before we actually purchase things. Most beginners go to the nursery before they've decided what they're doing. And I get it, the nursery is inspiring. Everything looks healthy and alive and full of possibility. But if you walk in without a plan, you walk out with a cart full of impulse buys and then stand in your backyard going, now what? Okay, I'm so much guilty of that. Some days, even to this day. Okay, reason number three, starting in a way that sets you up to struggle. And this one is more nuanced than starting too big. I actually see two kinds of wrong starts. Too many plants at once. This creates like chaos, makes it impossible to know what is working and what is not. Or this surprises people, too few plants. Starting with just one plant sounds really safe, but it actually creates an enormous pressure. If that one thing fails, you have nothing. No harvest, no win, no reason to keep going. Picture this for a moment. You walk into a nursery, everything looks beautiful. You have the best intention, and suddenly you're overwhelmed, unsure what to grab. Second guessing every choice, and you leave with either too much or not enough. Or worse, you leave with nothing because it felt like too much to figure out. Sound familiar? This is so normal and 100% solvable, which is exactly what we're talking about next. I call this the Start Smart framework. It's most gardening advice for beginners. Say some version of this. Start small, keep it simple, just do one plant. I want to respectfully push back on that because starting small isn't always the answer. Starting smart is. The goal isn't to start tiny. The goal is to start in a way that actually gives you a win. Okay, let me tell you why starting too small can actually backfire. Here's the thing about planting just one thing. It puts every single egg in one basket. If that one plant struggles and beginners plant will struggle, that's just the reality. You have no harvest, zero. You have no win to point to. You have no evidence that you can actually do this. If your entire garden depends on one plant, that is not a garden, that's just extra pressure. And there's another problem too. If you plant only long season crop, the kind that takes 3-4 months before you actually see anything, you're going to be waiting a long time before you get any feedback on whether this is working or not, positive or negative feedback. And that waiting period is where a lot of people, a lot of beginners, just give up. The sweet spot for a beginner garden is 3 to 5 plants, not just any 3 to 5. We want to choose strategically so we can get a mix of quick wins, a variety, resilience in there, and things that love our climate conditions. Here's how to build a balanced beginner garden. Herbs, 1 or 2 varieties of herbs. We are talking about basil, mint, cilantro. Herbs are so fast so forgiving, and so useful. They are the bang for your buck, especially in the gardening world. You will actually use them in your kitchen, which makes harvesting feel immediately rewarding. Nothing beats walking outside and brushing and snipping fresh basil or cilantro for dinner. The second variety you're going to grow is a fast growing crop. Depending upon the season, it's either going to be a lettuce, a spinach, or even bush beans, especially if you're in the warm season. These are really quick win crops, does not take a lot of space, and will give you visible results fast. You will have something to harvest early in the season before your bigger plant actually starts kicking in. Now, the big fruiting crop. We are talking tomato, pepper, cucumber, something that gives you a big, satisfying harvest that you can actually put on a dinner table and feel proud of. These take longer, but the payoff is huge. And then I have a surprise. Flowers. Yes, really flowers. Marigolds and zinnias are not just pretty, they attract pollinators, which means better fruit set on your food crops. And they naturally help with pest balance in the garden. Plus, they bloom fast and keep your garden looking alive and thriving even before the vegetables take off. Big visual win. We are not planting more just to make it complicated. We are planting smarter to make success more likely. When you're building your plant list, look for varieties that produce in 30 to 50 days. This is very important if you're just starting out. You need like really early feedback. You need early success. Confidence does not come from waiting for months, it comes from harvesting something early. The first harvest, even if it's just a handful of lettuce or a few sprigs of basil, is a game changer. It proves to you that you can actually do this, and that proof is worth more than any garden tip or advice I or anybody could give you. Okay, let's get practical. I want to walk you through exactly what to do first. No fluff, just the steps. So, step one, you're going to pick your space. Nothing complicated. You're going to either do a backyard or front yard or patio or balcony, or any of these will work. What matters most is sunlight. You want a spot that gets like 6 to 8 hours of direct sun per day. If you're not sure, watch your space. Then you're going to choose a simple setup. Be very simple, nothing too complicated. Next, you're going to focus on soil. This is the most important step, and most beginner or even people who have been gardening for a long time skip or rush. Good soil is the foundation of everything, literally everything. Next, you're going to choose 3 to 5 plants strategically. We already talked about the strategy before. Step 5, you're going to think about timing in your climate. If you're from Houston, the timing is different. If you're from Dallas, the timing is different. So the timing is entirely dependent on where exactly your garden is. In Houston, particularly, success, even anywhere in Texas, a gardening success is not about effort, it's about timing. I want to take a quick minute and walk you through what this experience is actually going to feel like, because knowing what's coming makes it so much easier to stay the course when you hit the inevitable moments of wait, is this normal? You're going to, week one, you're going to think about whether you did it right or not. Week two, there you see something growing, and then you get excited. In week three or four, you get a tiny harvest, and that is not a small thing, it's actually pretty incredible. And that's how your excitement, momentum, and your gardening confidence builds. Once you have that first harvest, everything changes. You start paying attention differently. You're outside more. You're actually staying there and noticing things. And then the bigger things start happening. The tomatoes set fruit, the peppers come in, the zinnias bloom, and then suddenly you have this whole living, producing garden that you actually made it happen. Picture this. You're outside one Saturday morning, coffee in hand, and your kids are picking cherry tomatoes right off the plant and eating them. Or you're cooking dinner and you just walk outside and grab some fresh herbs. You're just sitting in the garden and feeling this incredible sense of calm and pride because you built this place. Confidence comes from small early wins, not from doing everything perfectly or bigger. That's what we're building toward. Not the perfect garden, not the Instagram garden, the garden that makes you feel capable and excited and connected to where you live. Okay, let's have a quick look at what not to do before we go. I want to be real with you about the most common mistakes I see in beginner gardeners. We already talked about this, don't plant just one crop. You need insurance, you need variety. Don't just rely on one plant per crop. For example, don't say tomatoes, just one tomato and one pepper. Keep a little bit of variety in there. Don't start with slow growing crops. Don't just go directly to the 90, 100 and late season varieties. Make a plan before you go to the nursery. And do not skip soil. I've told this repeatedly, soil is not optional, it is the foundation. Skipping or not focusing on soil is like trying to build a house without a foundation. Everything else literally depends on it. A beginner's garden should be designed for success and not just survival. You don't have to learn everything the hard way, learn it the smart way. And you're already doing that by being here, actually. Okay, if we have everything we've talked about today, as you're feeling like, okay, I'm ready to start my own garden. I want to do this. I want to make sure I'm actually doing it right. I want to tell you about how I work with gardeners here in Houston. I do offer one-on-one guidance and also group coaching options designed to customize your gardening journey and provide you support along the way. It starts with building a plan that fits your yard, your life, your family, your schedule, and your season. And you get me in every step of the way. If that sounds like something you are interested, you can email me at info@vibrantrainbowgardens.com to get on my wait list. Okay, before I let you go, I want to leave you with this. You don't have to figure everything out today. You don't need to have the perfect plan or the perfect space or even the perfect soil to be a gardener. You just need to start smart. Pick your spot, choose your 5 plants with intention, prep your soil, plant at the right time for Houston, and give yourself permission to be a beginner, because every experienced gardener you've admired was a beginner once. Your first garden does not need to be amazing, it doesn't need to be perfect, it just needs to set you up for a win. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. If this episode helped you, I would absolutely love it if you shared it with a friend who's been thinking about starting a garden, or left a review wherever you listen to your podcast. Genuinely means so much and helps more gardeners find the show. Until next time, get out there, start smart, and let's grow something beautiful together. Before you go, I have one small ask. And it actually has nothing to do with algorithms or downloads. If this episode made you think of one person, a friend, a neighbor, a fellow parent, or someone who's always said, I want to grow a garden, I want to grow my own vegetables and fruits, I just don't know where to start, would you share this episode with them? This podcast grows almost entirely through word of mouth, and every share helps someone realize that gardening doesn't have to be complicated or overwhelming. It can be gentle, it can fit real life, it can start right where they are. And if you're listening and wondering what kind of gardener you are, or what your next best step actually is, I created a free quiz to help with that. It's called the Growzona Quiz, and it helps you figure out your gardening style, your biggest challenges, and what will actually work for your season of life. Whether you're a total beginner or just need clarity. You can take it at vibrantrainbowgardens.com/quiz. And I will send you personalized guidance right after. Thank you for being here, for listening, and for helping this little garden of a podcast grow. I'll see you in the next episode.